He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minutes!
Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minutes and Robin, the podcast that's always slippery when wet. Particularly when we're talking about minutes that are as exciting as the ones in Batman and Robin, where we talk about 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And here to gush over this masterpiece, it is your other host, John Parker.
And someone who hopefully will be gushing about this minute as well. We're once again joined by the terrific Molly Bailen.
Woo! Here to talk about moist giant orchids.
Yay!
Oh,
Yay!
man.
I wish I knew a lot about plants, because I know so little, but I'm pretty sure these are all fake.
Get out of here. No way. Oh.
I know, would you believe it? Like these lily pad things. I don't think they're real.
I mean, we'll get into it now with, of course, we're talking about minute 98, which opens with the entranced making an entrance, and it ends a minute later in the middle of a seductive dance. Well, I'll say dance. They're both sitting, kind of. But you know what I mean. You get it.
A dance of the mind and of the heart. Of the passions.
Now, there is so much of these minutes, particularly this one, kind of epitomizes what's up with Batman and Robin for me. Because there's so much good going on, but it's also so hokey at the same time.
That's why I love it, yeah.
But it's like, even, like, that's actually, you know, the tip at the very end of the last minute and going into this one. It's such a kind of creepy thing where, you know, Robin shows up and the gate, the vines open the gate for him. Like, it's got this whole, you know, it's all the come hither, but it's the plants doing it. So it's either Ivy controlling them with her mind, which I think this version of Ivy's more like, no, they are her literal children. They're just the plants are working for her. She doesn't control them herself. I only assume this from what happens to her later on, which we'll get into that when we get into it, because it's baffling. But I think it's such a creepy moment when, like, that gate opens by itself and you know it's the plants doing it. Like, it could have added to it by having, like, the bird signal gets turned off by the plants as well. Like, you know, it's gonna wraps itself around and then, you know, turns off the button. And
yeah, that'd be good, because I always prefer it when Ivy's making the plants do this, because the only other explanation is a middle ground, which is weirder, where she's essentially spoken to the plants and gone, you know, when he gets here, like, let's do this thing.
It's like, help Mama get laid, okay?
Yeah. It is very seductive, though. It's a show. It's like Dieter Von Teese or something.
Well, that's the thing. Like, well, one other thing we'll say as well. I don't know if you guys got this as well, but, like, you know, remember at one point when Ivy, it seems as she's, you know, she grows her own magic plants or whatever. When she was first creating the Turkish bathhouse, there was a bit like where one of them blossomed and kind of went, ah.
Yeah.
And that's happening because the sound of this is so layered. Like, the music and stuff is going on. You kind of don't pick up a lot of things unless you're really listening. But, like, when Dick's going through and they're obviously, like, closing the curtains, the flower curtains behind him.
Which you can see clearly some guy off screen has just gone, poof.
Oh, yeah. But you can also hear, like, it sounds like kids' laughter. Like, the plants are laughing at him.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it also is like, it's a children's laughter where these are literally little kid plants. Or, like, mischievous little urchin plants or something.
I think they're like mischievous imps almost, yeah.
Yeah. Or is it supposed to be like, oh, that's a woman's laugh and they're just all female flowers and they just have a kind of high-pitched voice, so it sounds a little bit like kids laughing.
Well, plus I assume Ivy has female flowers, right? That's kind of her whole thing. She's a bit, you know, feminist again. Like Catwoman was.
I like that as a creepy conceit, but then it also does add this thing of, like, yeah, so the plants have a mind of their own as well, I guess, is what it's trying to say. That, like, I guess because are these going to grow into, like, the weird lizard snake plant thing that she had. As just like the base, like, oh, they start off as plants and then they grow into animal hybrids.
But then if they're baby plants, it's unsettling that they like to watch these guys.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That'd be even worse too if Batman came in with like a flamethrower. Just like hearing all these kids screaming as he's just like mowing the whole thing down. It's like, I didn't realize it was going to sound like that. I kind of wish I'd done it a different way.
That actually would be really cool and creepy. Like, they start destroying them and they scream, so they've got to stop. Like, oh no, I can't do this. It's like, nah, that's the trick. They're tricking you. Do it. Do it.
But yeah, that's the thing. As you said, though, John, 'cause I love the conceit. But then it all looks... It looks like they put a ton of effort into it, but it still looks kind of cheap.
Yeah.
Like, it's all very rubbery. And
the
then,
curtain looks so fake.
Yeah. And even, like, the big reveal, which is on paper and in theory fantastic, of the big flower opening up and Ivy been in there. And they're like, oh, yeah, it took ages to do. 10 puppeteers to work that thing.
Mm-hmm.
It still looks a little hokey, where you're like, yeah, I don't know, maybe 11 puppeteers might have perfected that. It just looks very puppeteered. Like, it doesn't look right.
I love it, though. I love the colors, the way it goes. It suddenly starts glowing neon for no reason, like this whole movie, you know.
Yeah.
And it's very seductive, especially because flowers are always portrayed, you know, as like female sensuality and things. It's a good little image. Although, what was she doing in there? Is it like Darth Vader's egg?
Yeah. So if she like tuned in to the rest of the plants, so it was her opening the gate or closing the gate or whatever.
Yeah.
Got little strings on her fingers, so she pulls each one of them when she needs it and stuff like that.
Pulls a string.
It's like the whole building is this one big puppet, and she's got like a string for each thing she needs to close, so she has to twitch different fingers. Like, oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. Sorry, go back out. I'll do it right this time. Don't worry about it.
I have always been amazed by puppeteers because I always think I would pull the wrong string.
It is an art unto itself. But, as being John Malkovich can attest, it looks very, very difficult.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. The leafy curtains as well I find quite funny because it reminded me of old homes with those beaded curtains. Which were very big when I lived in Pakistan. Everyone in Pakistan has a beaded curtain. It's like you want to separate areas. This is the private back room of the shop, beaded curtain. No door, beaded curtain.
They always remind me of Leon, or The Professional, as I think it's known over there, Molly, the Natalie Portman movie, because it's a bit like when Gary Oldman, who of course was married to Uma Thurman, when he comes in and kills Natalie Portman's whole family. I always remember there's a bit like when he finally finds the dad, he's like cowering in the kitchen and it's got a beaded curtain door. And Gary Oldman does this very flamboyant, like puts his hands together and then spreads them way far apart to enter the room. So every time I see them or encounter them, I'm always doing a little Gary Oldman in my head of like,
oh, that is a good movie. Why has that not got a minute by minute, people?
I think
Seriously?
It's probably potentially too like, well, you know, the director's cut of this. These two characters are a little too into each other. It's very uncomfortable to talk about.
And you've got to do the director's cut because the other cut is pointless. That's the story. It's French, you know.
Right. Let's just be real here for a second.
Yeah, you know, they don't mind venturing into dangerous territory. The music here I thought was really cool as well. Very classic. I thought it had a touch of Luke on Dagobah.
It does. Definitely, for sure. I also noted in the background, though, deep in the mix, you can hear some didgeridoo, which I also like the idea of, like, we kept saying about, like, oh, it wouldn't be great if every time a saxophone goes off in the movie, like, the Tim Capello from The Lost Boys, the shirtless saxophone guy, if he appeared, that'd be great. Now, like, yeah, his Australian cousin, like, Jim Capello, he's playing a didgeridoo over in the corner now. Still in front of his giant fire.
I'm sure Australia has them, but I don't know famous didgeridoo players, I'll be honest.
Well, maybe we should change that. Molly, do you know any famous didgeridoo players that we can promote?
I don't. I just feel like it's a hippie rite of passage that at some point some dude gets a hold of either an acoustic guitar or a didgeridoo. You know, it's one or the other.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Definitely the acoustic guitar. And there's always someone at a house party who insists on getting the acoustic out. You're like, oh no, I don't want to hear you playing. Shut up. Yeah. I'm trying to have fun here.
That's the kind of classic moment of Animal House. The guy playing acoustic guitars on the steps, and Jim Belushi just like grabbing it out of his hand, smashing it on the wall, and they're going, "Sorry," and hand it back. But it's kind of like, yeah, he's speaking for all of us. I think really.
Well, it's always so awkward because even if they're really good, you've got to kind of exaggerate. Like, oh, that was amazing! Yeah,
Yeah,
another
yeah.
one! Yeah! It's like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I just tend to go into another room now. It's just like, if the party's good enough, it'll spread to other areas of the house, so you'll be all right. You can find somewhere else to go.
I get it. You're good. Cool.
Yeah.
I like that, but I just want to relax.
And Molly now is just like, I was that person who would bring out a didgeridoo every party.
No, I was never that person. In fact, it just gives me... You know, it's unfortunate that people do this at parties because people are drinking or they're smoking weed or whatever. And there was a guy who was like friends of my housemates when I lived in London, and he would like to read poetry.
Oh, see, that's all.
It's like-
too.
I don't know, I was just like, and I would laugh because I'm like, this is insane, you know? Like, this isn't okay.
No.
Like, bless your heart, sweetheart, seriously, but this is not that moment.
And it
You know,
could be
we
the
do not
best,
need a bard.
It could be the best poetry you've ever heard. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's an awkward position to be in where you've got to pretend to be even more attentive than you are. And it's a very serious poetry. It's from the heart. It's like, oh, I'm not in that headspace. I'm sorry.
It does.
No.
I think it does give you the opportunity to do the thing I've always wanted to do, where you just click your fingers. You know, like in the beatnik clubs, like after someone reads a poem, you just go like,
Click.
So that's what I'd be doing. I'd be just waiting for them there, not even paying attention to the poem, just like, when can I click? I just want to do the click.
Well, that's what you do at drag shows, because of course a lot of people are wearing false nails, so they don't clap. People click their nails together.
Ah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I like that themed responses to the thing that you're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you're watching Batman and Robin, you would clap your butt cheeks together because it's just, there's so many butts on display.
Oh well, you know, yeah. I mean, why not present yourself? There we go. Yeah. What is it about poison ivy then, as in the plant? Why is that being linked to seduction so much when you could have something like a fly trap? You know?
I think it's because it's always the idea of seduction is like a slow weeding process, and poison ivy kind of weed, like it's a weed that gets in slowly and creeps in without
Well,
you
plus
even
the
knowing
word
it and stuff.
seduction, I always think, maybe this is just me, has a negative connotation. If you
Yeah,
seduce someone, it's like it's a bad thing. Like they don't want to sleep with you almost. It's like,
hello?
so I suppose it's like a poison. It's
It's all about the creeping in. It's about the slow build and stuff. So
because you could easily, as I say, go with a fly trap. I was going to say they're a bit less sexy looking, I guess, but Audrey too.
Yeah.
well,
Everybody likes Audrey too, right?
This thing that Ivy's in, for a long time I interpreted it as being the fully grown version of the little lizard plant thing
Yeah,
that she had
same, yeah.
earlier on. But I think, no, this is an orchid now. Apparently they've said specifically she's in a giant orchid.
Well, orchids are always kind of associated with female sexuality as well. I don't know what it is.
Yes.
Is it because they have that like little lip bit at the bottom? You can't really see it on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it has some anatomical similarities.
I always remember in season 1, weird. Like I always had a whole thing, but like I thought orchids were associated with death, and I looked into it and I couldn't find anything to back it up. But I associated with that because like, oh, the Joker has a little orchid that shoots the acid out of, and it kind of became like that's the reason why you think it's associated with death is
Because
because
the Joker.
the Joker has acid in his. Like that has to be more than that, right?
No,
Like
it's lilies, isn't it? That are death.
Yeah. So that was this. I guess would be like, oh, orchid is kind of like, well, black orchid was where they took a lot of poison ivy's origin with all the Jason Woodrue stuff is established in the Neil Gaiman run of he did Pavon and then he did Black Orchid where it brought a lot of the same elements in.
And then he spoke to us on Twitter.
Exactly, yeah. And this is a again, it's a beautiful shot of them. Flat out though, before even getting to that giant plant that she's in, the little pond in front, I really love. Like the weird, it looks like mutant toxic sludge kind of water, where it's this neon bright green and stuff like that.
Neon.
But just the the contrast between that and the purples is just like, it's just a beautiful, beautiful shot. I just love the look of it so much.
Well, my two favorite colors, green and purple. So I'm excited.
It's, I don't know, Molly, have you ever, are you a big flower person? Have you like got your house decked out in a similar manner to Poison Ivy, or are you like complete minimalist, or what's your spin on?
Oh God, if only. I love neon.
Yeah.
I really do. God help me. I love black light neon. I love the aesthetic of this. I mean, I don't have a giant orchid couch by any by any means in my
You're saving up
in
for
my
that
place,
at the moment,
but yeah, if I could have I mean, my house is very hippie, to be honest with you. You were talking about beaded curtains. I love beaded curtains. I've always loved beaded curtains. See? I have a 20-year history of I mean, I upped it to getting wood beads versus the plastic beads, but I love that cheap too. Don't get me wrong.
Wood beads have an extra. They have class. I don't, because it feels like they've been handmade. You know, plastic is cheap. Wood automatically makes it cooler.
See, doesn't it just elevate the whole thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love all these kind of plants, but I'm lazy. You've got to water them all and look after them, and it's like,
yeah. Oh no, I've got like one of my housemates helps run the community garden across the street, and it's like an operation, like maintaining that garden. It's like there's so much work involved with it. I was like, I don't know, I don't have the time of day to do that.
I literally only have a cactus at the moment because you don't do anything. Yeah. You know, you don't even water it. It gets its own water. You're like, okay.
I was always kind of tempted to get a bonsai tree because it was just
that's work.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're always like, yeah, like how fast does it grow? It seems like, oh, you have to be on it, pruning it all the time. It's like, it's supposed to be very calming, but like, but you want to do it like once a week, or like they have to do it like once a day. How much does this thing grow?
Yeah, you prune it quite a lot, but it doesn't take long because you do it quite a lot. It's like plus the only problem is you don't just prune it however you feel like. There's like set ways of doing it.
Oh yeah, because you always have
a
the comedy beat of someone trying to do a bonsai tree and then they clip the wrong thing and they messed up the whole scenario and stuff. Yeah.
So there's like you've got to learn. You don't just buy it and go, I'm just going to chop it.
So then we do get like some Love in This Water, and then this big reveal, the 10 puppeteer reveal of Ivy inside the giant orchid.
My favorite bit of the movie, possibly. It's up there.
I just think that because I love the way it lights up. It goes neon as it opens and stuff. Yeah. Beautiful, but it still looks a bit hokey to me. It's just like
the whole movie does. That's why.
It's just like it could be a bit smoother. It could have been. It just has this kind of quality. No matter how big the set is, it always kind of looks small. There's just something about the whole movie where like, oh yeah, this is the biggest set that anyone's ever created. Yeah, but it looks pretty tiny though, right?
Well, this is the problem. If you do deck your house out with flowers everywhere, it shrinks the space, which can be a good thing or a bad.
Because considering like Uma Thurman's like a good 6 foot tall, and then how big the thing is around her, like this must have been gigantic. This thing she's sitting in, but it's I don't know. It's a beautiful shot of her. It's a still image. It's perfect. But just the actual opening to me, just like a little like, I don't know, like you could have made that smoother.
Oh, really. You're not like me then. I find it alluring. I'm ensnared, Niall. Help me. I've fallen into a trap. She gets me every time. In fact, this reminds me as well of that. This sounds terrible. I'm so uncultured sometimes. It reminds me of that famous painting of the lady on the clamshell.
Oh yeah, that's the
Botticelli.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, of course that is the Venus. Yeah, Venus on the shell. I think it's called something along.
It's something like that, isn't it? Venus on a clamshell. It's something very descriptive.
We talked about that obviously way back. The first scene, Poison Ivy as Poison Ivy appears, because Joel Schumacher said the whole reason she was cast was because he was instantly enamored by her in The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, where she is Venus and the clamshell comes up. I think it's Venus on a sheet. Oh god, it's annoying now because it's so close. Venus on a
something. We looked it up ages and ages back, but that feels like 10 years ago now.
Yeah, and it's this big shell comes up, opens, and she's standing there, and it was like, oh, it's very similar to the way she erupts up from the ground, and she almost has a similar pose, like they're trying to go for the Venus thing in that Poison Ivy origin scene.
Yeah, and they're doing it again.
It is a little bit of it here too. It really bugged me in that this also feels like it is a direct reference to like like a musical or something. I can imagine like loads of other dancers in like leaves getting out of the way and revealing like Marilyn Monroe inside a giant flower. And I was trying to find it and I can't get it anywhere. Like I was, having to Google like musical giant flower and stuff like that. And they're like, no.
And you
no,
get
no.
Audrey too.
Yeah. The amount of times, Little Shop of Horror pops up. And I had to ask one of my old university lecturers who was all into old Hollywood. She didn't get back to me in time. I was like, if anyone would know this minute, friggin' an old-timey Hollywood actress in a giant flower getting revealed like this, it's gotta be a thing. And she just didn't reply to it. And I was like, damn it, God. To be fair, it was in the middle of the night one time. She's probably like, why are you messaging me at like 2 a.m. to ask about a flower? Yeah. But, although, Molly, I do feel you should aspire to getting this flower chair in your apartment now. Now that you mentioned it, you could have this couch. Don't dream it, be it. You can.
It is an epic piece of furniture. I give her full credit for it. I mean, I do hear what you're saying though. The opening. I mean, as cool as it is a little. The mechanical motion of the opening is a little off, and so there is a bit of that hiccup where it opens up. So I hear what you're saying, that it would be. I can see how there would be a preference to have a smoother opening.
Yeah.
Like da 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 da.
Again, it feels all like, because like, we got this movie in ahead of schedule. I was like, you could have used, an hour to reshoot that and make it look better. And like, no, it was perfect. Like, we didn't have time to do it. It's like, you got it in ahead of schedule, man. What the hell? You got plenty of time to do it.
Well, I'm on board with it. Screw you both. You're out of here. The dialogue is so peculiar as well, though, because I love what she says when she's like, hi there. It's like, oh, well, yeah. But then Robin, comes over and he's like, is your thumb the only part of you that's green?
Wah, wah.
Oh.
Like, dude, you don't ask that. That's like, does the curtain match the drapes? Kind of, or whatever
Well, that's
it is.
what it reminded me of,
Carpet match the drapes.
In Ghost World, when Enid dyes her hair green, and then I was like, hey, your hair is the only part of you that's green. It's like, is that the joke? Is that what they're going for the same exact thing here?
Yeah. He's asking about,
Yeah, but it's annoying that this is the one time, because this is her in her fully formed outfit. This is the one time she's not wearing any green as well, so the joke doesn't quite track. It's like,
still, she enjoys the banter. That's the way she communicates, because she's like, you'll just have to find out. It's like, yeah.
I don't know, like, well, what do you make, Molly, of the high there? Because I do have kind of beef with it.
What?
Like,
really?
yeah. I just think it's a bit. I think it's a bit like low, because she already did a hi there, like back when she did her first big entrance in the movie,
That's
and she
true.
got up on stage and was like, "Hi there."
That's
and
her
I think even the
catchphrase
guest
now.
the guest at the time was like, "That's a bit basic, isn't it?" It's like, yeah, it is. It feels now it could be like you gotta rewrite that. Something like, I thought I heard you pecking at my door. It's something like that. Make more of a joke about it or something. Or
Yeah, I get that. I think there's also this really cheesy, sexy 80s saxophone that's playing, as was referenced a moment ago. But this has got to be one of the last times sexy 80s saxophone is used in a serious manner in a film.
that was it. This movie killed it. It was after that they're like,
I think this might be the coffin for this.
Destroyed the saxophone industry.
yeah, we've been waiting 25 years to recover from Batman and Robin, but
It's coming back big.
yeah, that's why if you ask Tim Capello about Joel Schumacher, he just spits and he's like, "That man destroyed an industry. He raised us up
a
so
solid
high." And
20 years, right?
There is no sexier instrument than the saxophone.
oh, maybe the didgeridoo, I suppose. I'm dead set on making the didgeridoo a thing now.
Well, there is a meme. You're going to have to cut this bit out. There is a meme at the moment, because apparently there's some porn movie where someone uses a didgeridoo in a sex act. And it's controversial, because you can't use that. That's like a sacred instrument of the Aboriginal people.
Oh man.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, actually, say though.
Well,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Molly.
no. I was just going to say something, profane about, you could at least use the saxophone in that manner. And, it's not sacred to anybody,
Yeah,
It's,
the saxophone-
it's
Tim
sexy
Capello.
in all kinds of ways.
So I think even the saxophone, I think they refer to like the tip you blow into as the lips and stuff. It's like it's kind of got a vaguely kind of like, you caress it in a way. Like it has a sensuality about it already.
It does,
So
yeah.
I can understand why it's got that way, but
I don't know why the sax specifically over other like wind instruments though. There's something about it.
Well, I think it might be because the other ones are just rigid and straight. Well, this one has like curves and stuff. It
Yeah,
looks a
yeah.
bit
Nobody
more-
nobody likes it
Right.
straight and rigid. We like we like the curves.
It's just like, go in, stand by the bed. I'll be in 5 minutes. We have 2 minutes, and then we're done. But yeah, that's I also kind of wish as well though. It's so like Dick Grayson at this point must be ready to blow. Like
Oh my God.
'cause he's so pent up. This guy. I can imagine him come in. This reveal happens, and he might just be like, "Oh, okay, I'll see you," and just walks away again.
Well, especially because he's written a bit younger than he actually is. So this is his first experience. I'm not saying with a girl in general, but of a woman.
Yeah.
You know.
Although it's again weird in real life, they're both the same age. So
Yeah. But in the context of the movie, they're very much not.
yeah.
She is a woman.
Ah.
Of the
Although that
world.
did actually, the idea of Dick potentially losing it for the first time did send me down a research rabbit hole of Dick Grayson's romantic histories
Ah.
and who were his firsts. It's weird because the first ever interest for Dick Grayson was in Batman 19 in 1943, and it was an Atlantean princess called Princess Lanya.
Oh.
And he comes in, and it gets weird instantly because apparently he looks exactly like her brother.
Ooh. What?
That's a great chat line. You look like my brother.
Yeah, there's a whole big thing that he actually goes undercover for like the mission as her brother, but she's still in love with him. And then afterwards, it's just like, "Well, see ya." She goes back to they're in Atlantis. They just leave, and then it was like, "Well, that was the end of Princess Lanya." His first actual girlfriend. First girlfriend sounds incredibly rich. That's what she went to, like the rich school that the Bruce Wayne sends Dick to.
Ugh.
But
Posh
Marjorie Davenport.
Oh. Of the Iowa Davenports.
Exactly. Yeah. And she has Dick has a big thing for her. She has kind of a thing for him. Then he rescues her as Robin at one point, and then throughout the rescue, he keeps constantly talking about how great Dick Grayson is. Kind of tipping his hand a little bit there. And then, afterwards, she's into is Robin. She's just obsessed with Robin. There's like bits of, the teacher asking like, "What's the pop quiz class? What's the most beloved American bird?" And she's like, "Oh, a robin." And Dick's just next to her going, "A fine thing," because it's like written in the 40s and stuff.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
So
Is a
eventually,
robin the most beloved American bird? I assumed it was the eagle. God damn it, the bald eagle.
I imagine that's probably what it's supposed to be, but like it's just that she's so smitten by Robin at this point. That's all that she can think about.
Then again, am I right? Are bald eagles? Are they very, very rare? Are they going extinct? I don't know. Are there loads of them?
I don't know what the population status of the bald eagle is, but yes, in terms of revered bird, that would be above a robin
Yeah,
within American culture.
a bald eagle. I'll be honest, it's a cool looking bird. Like that's a good choice. Whereas I think robins are big over here because they're just little silly fat Christmas things. So we like them. We're into them.
But then Dick's first girlfriend was actually not even his first girlfriend. Robin's first girlfriend was an ice skater called Vera Lovely.
Vera Love. Oh, come on.
Oh,
That's like a James Bond woman's name.
it is.
He saves her from a fire on an ice rink at one point,
What?
and she kisses
Okay.
him on the cheek. And this Robin's first kiss was Vera Lovely. And the press get hold of it. Like, they're there with what a scoop! Robin melts Ice Princess and all this kind of stuff. And then her manager kind of sabotages them because he doesn't like the optics of his client going out with a superhero for some reason. You think that would be like really good press. They're like, right, yeah, she's going out with Robin. It's fantastic. But Robin, in the meantime, is also getting completely distracted thinking about Vera all the time, that he just begging Batman to go home from patrol early and stuff like this. And eventually then they just, they end up having a misunderstanding and a falling out. And eventually Robin rededicates himself to justice. He's like 12 at this point as well.
You're 12 and you're rededicating yourself to justice.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like Batman 107, so it would have been in the 40s when this came out, like at the time. But yeah, of course, Betty Kane, original Batgirl, she was after Robin like a friggin' dog with a bone, to the point where he did the old trick of like, no, I only have one lady in my life, and she's like, oh, I wish I could be the girl for him, and Batmite gets involved and ends up like possessing a tiger.
What?
Yeah. So Batgirl can save people from this mauling tiger that's possessed by Batmite, and Robin will think she's really cool. But at the end, it's revealed that the lady he's dedicated to, you might have already guessed it.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Actually, Molly, do you have a guess?
Infected with the Batmite?
I think the lady he's dedicated to is Lady Justice.
That's exactly right, John. Lady Justice.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, then one of the big loves of Dick's life would come in then in New Titans in 1980, where he meets Princess Coriander, who of course is known as Starfire.
Wait, coriander, like coriander,
yeah,
coriander.
Like the herb. He's into herbs, this guy. Poison ivy, corianders. But that was, I think, her alias on Earth is Corianders, but she's Princess Coriander from from space. She's like, a fugitive on the run from her planet getting taken over.
What do they call that in America, though? It's not coriander, is it? It's
Yeah, it's coriander.
I thought you had a different name for that. Wasn't it? I thought it was like cilantro.
I think they're used I mean, we use the term too, though. But cilantro is also. Are they the same herb? I thought coriander was different.
No, they're the same.
Are they really?
Mm.
Oh.
Well, maybe here they're the same. Maybe there they're not. Because there are sometimes they do things like that. Like, in some places in America, don't you call sweet potatoes yams?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yams are a completely
I think they're,
different
but they're
vegetable.
different though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're two different vegetables though. The one that I'm familiar with is courgettes and zucchini. We say zucchini here.
Yeah.
I would much rather say zucchini. It's a much cooler.
I like both. I think it's because America has a lot, bizarrely, despite helping being started off by the French, more Italian influence. We have a lot more French.
Yeah.
I think it's just because like Z is one of the coolest letters, and you barely get the English. UK English wants to stomp out that Z. Like, every time things like colorized in America. Oh yeah, put the Z in there. Nope, it's an S over here.
We came up with it first as an S.
No, I get it. Well, maybe it's more Americans just been like, oh, this Z is pretty cool. Let's use this thing more and more.
It is pretty cool. But then if it was used all the time, it'd be less cool.
It's special.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, Starfire, one of the great loves of Dick Grayson's life, and 100 issues later, well, their first kiss comes in New Titans 2, but it's because Coriander, her species, learns through physical touch.
Oh.
So,
No, I bet she does.
She can learn and teach a lot, I'm sure.
yeah. So she snogs Robin and then learns English through the kiss. And so but then 100 issues later was the wedding of Starfire and Dick Grayson. But of course, it's comics, so it didn't work out. Throughout the wedding, Raven, another member of the Teen Titans, she's been put under the influence of her demon dad, like a literal demon. And she actually comes and trashes the whole wedding. The whole thing falls apart. They have to fight Raven. They eventually cure her. She turns back to normal. But afterwards, Starfire goes back to her home planet to kind of recover, and the relationship never really, picks up after that.
See, I'm just picturing Raven up on the balcony banging on the glass. Robin!
But of course, then also you get Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon, but we'll talk about that another time, because that's a much bigger story, that. But yeah, I think in comics canon now, as of 2007, Dick lost his virginity to a lady called Lou, like Lucy Lou, like Liu.
Okay.
Where he falls out with Batman. Shock.
Oh, that's never happened before.
runs away at the age of 17, falls in with a guy called Metal Eddie, who runs like a kind of it's like a runaway group for like, you know, orphaned teens, basically. It's like Shredder in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Where they're supposed to be against, you know, corporations and stuff, and he starts them off with like light vandalism, builds it up to like flat out robbing.
So he's Fagin.
Yeah, basically, yeah, like much more malignant version of Fagin. And through Dick Grayson, they realize, oh, we can get the Wayne Enterprises through this kid, and so Lou actually has sex with him to win him over, and it's like, you know, she has no feelings for him at all. It's entirely just to get into Robin's head and to make sure that like, oh, he'll fall in love with me now. But Dick Grayson, because he's been so well trained by Batman, kind of susses out what's going on.
But he goes through with it anyway.
Yeah, goes through with it anyway. And then afterwards, he goes back to Batman. They kind of make up and stuff. And then they arrest Lou, and she gets put in prison. But afterwards, it is like, yeah, this initial betrayal kind of like leaves a lasting mark on all his relationships. So like even when he's with Starfire and Barbara, it's kind of like he has this lingering memory of being like, you can't really trust anybody because, you know, no matter how intimate you are with them, you know, he's been with Batman, for Christ's sake. He's a kind of like, Batman, screw you over. If he doesn't trust you, he'll turn on you on a dime, you know? So he's always got a little bit of like an edge of like, well, you know, even if you know someone in the biblical sense, things can still go south. So
yeah, it might be good for a young Robin to just get that out the way.
Yeah,
it's going to happen to him 50 million times throughout his career as a superhero. This little lily pad walk our Robin here does, though, fantastic. These things are hilarious, but we get some awful dialogue, which I love it, but it's terrible because you know he's like, I want us to be together, but I want to make sure you're serious about turning over a new leaf.
It's even worse because that's continuing on a thing that was in the original script that they cut out of the movie, where Ivy claimed that she was going to turn good for him in order to win him over.
Yeah.
That's not in the final product. So this whole business of her turning over a new leaf is like, well, that's new information. She never indicated that she was going to do that before.
And, the way he just sort of falls down on top of her as well. It's like, whoa, down boy, you know, have some decorum. some chat and some foreplay first, maybe.
I love in his little walk over too. He is cautious enough to kind of prod the lily pad with his foot to be like, because if you just confidently strode across, he goes plunging into the water straight away.
That would be quite funny. And I
don't think I'd even trust them myself. I'll just walk around the side and be like, I'm not going over to them. We could fall in. You crazy?
You want to show how dedicated you are to her. Well, and there's another bit as well where it implies that she's turned good because he's like, I need a sign. And her response is amazing. How about slippery when wet? It's so dumb. I love it.
As every time I watch this to make notes, I cackled every time she said, "Well, how about slippery when wet?" Because it's so lurid as well for like a kids movie.
But a kid won't get that. That's the genius of it.
But yeah, just that joke, like the slippery when wet thing was just like every time. Oh man,
it's so.
And it's another bit of, I'm assuming, improv, because the line in the novelization and the script is like, "How about dangerous curves?"
That is good too, though.
Yeah, but I don't know, slippery when wet is just, it's so like, it's not graphic, but it's also quite graphic as well.
Oh, it's so like sloppy nasty, man. It really is. I mean, it's just.
It's genius, though. I mean, it
is.
What better way to get to him?
Yeah. Also, one of the most famous albums of the 90s, "Slippery When Wet" by John Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
The very man who gave Arnold Schwarzenegger his blue cigars for earlier in the movie and stuff. So.
Everything's connected.
Maybe that's why Uma improv'd it. It was just like, oh, John Bon Jovi's here. Like, I wonder if I can. Because this had been before she was hooked up with Ethan Hawke, so she meant, maybe I can get off with John Bon Jovi here. Try my luck.
Well, now that I'm catching up finally after all these years with Seinfeld, right? Can somebody please Photoshop Kramer as Mr. Freeze with the blue cigar? Because when he's got those Cuban cigars, he looks awesome.
There's a character dedicated to those goddamn cigars as well.
And I'm not even a smoker, but it just looks cool. I don't know.
No, I've enjoyed cigars in the past too. Like I don't smoke, but I've had a cigar on occasion when it's been a big event. That's
But they take like 20 hours to smoke.
Yeah,
They do.
I just enjoy the theatricality of them. Molly, are you a cigar smoker? Or is that you like, I puff away in cigars all the time?
No, not all the time, but high holidays.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't-
No, there's just something kind of I don't know, maybe it's the kind of the Godfather association or a boss association. Like you just yeah, you're right. It's gonna take 20 years to smoke them. But there is something kind of badass about a cigar.
There is. And I don't really like the taste of tobacco, but from my brief experiences, I thought a cigar tasted nicer than a cigarette. A cigarette tasted like crap. It's like ash. A cigar at least had a flavor.
Yeah, you're not really inhaling it as much as well. You're only supposed to kind of puff it a little bit rather than sucking it into your lungs and stuff like that. So
Maybe that's where I went wrong.
But I love the idea though. This is Ivy's like, this guy's a kid. I'll get on his side. I'll mention the Bon Jovi album, "Slippery When Wet." I might also seduce John Bon Jovi over in the corner there and on the actual set.
Imagine if his response is, "I love that album."
They say, "Oh yeah, you gave love a bad name," and then you start thinking of all the songs and like, "Your love is like bad medicine." Wait a minute, maybe having sex isn't great.
God damn it!
It's like, oh, my plan backfired on me.
Turned him celibate.
I just absolutely love that. So up there now with two things we know that Uma Thurman, it seemed, would have improvised on set was like, I need to go back and get my diamonds. I'll help you grab your rocks, which was another one of the best lines in the whole movie. And changing it to like, how about slippery when wet, which is just absolutely perfect.
It's beautiful.
Oh man, but only final note I've got here for this minute is just that this little shot of the two of them together reminded me of something I only looked into after past guest Dale Kingsmill mentioned it offhandedly when we were talking about the direct inspiration for Poison Ivy. And it had a whole thing about Rappaccini's daughter. And Dale was like, I thought you were going to talk about like La Belle Dame Sans Merci. And I was like, explain to the audience what that is, Dale. And looking into it, like it actually is eerily kind of similar, where particularly in this scene, because La Belle Dame Sans Merci means the beautiful lady without mercy, and it's a ballad by Keats, John Keats from 1819.
Yeah,
and it's all about a beautiful siren out in the woods, this gorgeous woman clad in red, who seduces a young knight to come in to her and basically kills him. That's the whole thing. Her beauty bewitches him, and this young knight ends up befalling a quote-unquote bad fate.
Well, and Robin is an emissary of the Dark Knight.
Yeah, he himself is a knight himself, kinda. And the thing is, it's been a massive influence on the art world. And so if you look up the John William Waterhouse 1893 painting, just called La Belle Dame Sans Merci, it looks really similar to this, because like even the angles of like it's this woman in kind of like a reddy purpley outfit and this knight kind of hovering over her, getting seduced in by her. And it's just like, because I wouldn't be surprised if Joel Schumacher was taking a little bit of like, he's an artistic guy. He might be like, it's a little bit of that trope I'm bringing in, because it was such an influential ballad that they ended up making like, femme fatales in film noir and stuff can all be traced back to this concept.
I can see that totally. Yeah.
The dangerous woman, the beautiful woman without mercy.
Well, we all know sexy women are evil.
I think in that poem she uses her hair to like literally ensnare him. Ooh. So Ivy's kind of doing that with the plants as well. But like, I'll put up the two pictures side by side because it just looks very visually similar to like this siren bringing in this black clad young knight.
I actually would like Ivy's hair to be kind of sentient. Like I think the hair should wrap around Robin and pull him close.
Yeah,
that'd be quite cool.
But she's already got so many snake elements to her. You could have her be like a proper Medusa and actually have like snake-like vine hair or something like that. Yeah, it's just, Missed opportunity. That's always all I'll say.
Shame.
But that's all the notes I got for 98, though. I don't know if anyone else have anything else they want to bring up? Or
No, all good for this one.
No, we're good.
We will head off into the dark, dark night. So do join us again on Friday, listeners, where we'll be back with minute 99. Oh, my God. Over here in England, that means we get a chocolate flake. That's going to make sense to 2 listeners. So we'll see you again on Friday. Batmites. Next time, remember, kids, always use protection. The bilious babe of boutonnieres plants a hemlock liplock on a bird boy's beak, but discovers that rubber lips are the latest in vigilante chic. This revelation runs Robin afoul of the May Queen of the Crazies. But will a dunk in the drink lead to our man stud pushing up daisies? It's a fearsome situation in Ivy's Forest of Fornication on Friday, Bat fans. Same Bat pod, different Bat minute.
We'll be back.
back.